Hi friends, my name is Angela and welcome to my YouTube channel. I was actually going to share with you today a list of historical fiction books that I love for the year, and I will share that with you eventually, but I can't do it right now because I realized that a number of the books on that list are actually going to be in my top books of the year. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early, so to speak, so instead let's do a little pivot and have another bookish chat around notebooks. The video I shared in October on my notebook system went a little bit viral, which was a lot of fun. I loved connecting with all these new people out there. It just feels like such an easy extension from reading books to keeping notebooks on information. So I feel like it really does. I think I can understand why it resonated with a lot of people that are already viewing my channel. And needless to say, as we're coming towards the end of the year and thinking about 2026, I know I am starting to do some forward planning and thinking about the things that I want to accomplish, and that does come down to how I keep my information, how I organize my life. So I thought you may also be interested thinking about how you may want to be shifting things around in 2026. So today I'm going to share with you an update on my notebook system. There have been a few changes in some of them, not drastic changes, but a few. I did forget a notebook to share with you that I have been keeping for a few years that I didn't share with you because I don't update it every month, even every 3 months. It really is an irregular practice. I'll share that with you today. I'll share a bit about what has been working and what hasn't been working, the plans I have for 2026, and I may also share with you a few other things in my life that I've been doing lately and also plan on doing more in the new year around my goal of having less screen time and enjoying the process of information storing or just doing things rather than the end result. But before we get into the notebooks, I'm just going to share with you a few books that I am reading at the moment because you are always interested in that, and that's what we're here to talk about. So I'll share them with you. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I love it. I'm halfway through it at the moment and I am loving it. So thank you very much for those people who pushed that up my summer TBR. That is going very, very well. It's epistolary. The book takes the form of letters and I love it. I love that feeling, that nostalgia that it brings. So I'm halfway through this and I'm really enjoying it. I just finished this morning. This was a book that I bought when I was in New Zealand. It's by a New Zealand author named Rodney Strong and it's called 3 Dogs, 2 Murders and a Cat. And it's described as a cozy mystery and it is absolutely that. And what I've come to realise, this is the first in a new series from Rodney Strong, which is the Nicolette Briggs mystery. And Nicolette is a pet detective. And what I've come to realise though is he has quite a long backlist of other books, which are other series, and one of them is the Silver Moon Retirement Village series, which has a couple of characters in this book, and it seems to be like another version of the Thursday Murder Club. I tried to read that book and I didn't enjoy it, but I really loved this book, so I'm going to probably track down those. I think they may be more up my alley, and I love that it's a New Zealand author that I hadn't heard of before. But this is Nicolette is a pet detective and she is called to the retirement village because there's a cat that they believe has been poisoned, so she is on the case to figure out what happened to this cat. The cat doesn't belong to anyone in the retirement village, but the cat seems to just like meander around and come and visit throughout the day and then goes home in the evenings and then comes back the next day. Anyway, Nicolette eventually gets caught up in a murder investigation and I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was so enjoyable to spend time with Nicolette. I really loved the side characters. I loved the dialogue in here. It was a lot of fun. So if you're looking for a cozy murder mystery, I highly recommend it. And I am also reading Queen James by Gareth Russell, which is on my summer TBR. So I'm excited that I'm cracking through my summer TBR. I think I'm about 150 pages in, but I'm finding it very interesting because there is a lot of information in here that I have no idea about. I don't know a lot about the Scottish monarchy. Like I said, the Tudor era is kind of my jam. That's what I know the most about. So I'm enjoying this. There's a lot of information though, so I feel like I need to start making some notes on it for myself. But those are the books that I've got on the go at the moment. So let's catch up on my notebooks. First of all, I have to say that it has been going very, very well. After I took a few weeks to find my groove, my rhythm with it, I really didn't know where to start. I had a little bit of paralysis, which I talked about in my other video. it's been going really, really well. I've tweaked a few things in each of them, which I'll share with you, but overall I'm enjoying this process because it's encouraging me to enjoy the process of the task rather than just the end of it. Whereas if I'm using my phone, I'm not interested in how many things I've got to click through to get to the point where I can make a note. It's the end goal that's the goal. So the first one is the pocket folio I have, and I am still using this as it's in my bag every day. I take it with me everywhere when I leave the house. I have 2 notebooks in here, and the first one are just notes on the go, whether it is a quick shopping list or it is a list of things I need to accomplish over the weekend, things of that nature, just list making. And generally I take that with me because, like, say on the weekend I had to run some errands, so I included the stores I needed to go to, the things I wanted to buy was on that notebook. And the second notebook in here is essentially my notes app in notebook form. So anything I would have previously gone to my phone for and written something in the notes app, I now put in this one. And so it's become a real catch-all. When I was in New Zealand, I was making my notes on the books I was reading because I didn't take my A5 folio with me. But I was making the notes about the books I was reading so I could refer to that when I was doing the talking videos. I also included notes about the trip itself that I wanted to remember to be able to talk to later. So I almost filled it with almost all of New Zealand stuff. I've also got notes in here for doctor and specialist appointments because I'm just one of those people who has questions for specialists. So I write them in here so I don't forget them and wish I had said something. I've got like the planting list that I wanted to get into my vegetable garden, restaurants I want to try, my Christmas card list, authors I want to read so I can refer to that if I go into a store, and it's just going really well. The third thing I've added, which is new, which you might see poking out, is a Sudoku book. It's obviously way too big for this book, but if there's one downside to this particular folio, it's B7 in size, is that it is quite small, and I'm struggling to find things that will fit in it other than the little notebooks themselves, which I've been able to get from the same place that I bought the folio, which was Studio Milligram in Melbourne. So it is pretty big, but I wanted to put something in here like a Sudoku or a crossword. I'm just trying to try new things, and I love these sort of brain teasers. So I am a novice at Sudoku, but I like having it here, and it is pretty big, I agree, but it's manageable. So that's the only downside with this one. It's not so much of a downside that I want to buy another one, but definitely the Paper Republic pocket size folio would fit this book and a lot of other things. Like, I initially thought that I wanted to put some sort of planner in here that I could see like a month at a glance. So instead of referring to my calendar on my phone, I would refer to it. But I really struggled finding something. I did find one thing, but it was even thicker than this Sudoku book. So it was much too big, and it was like a proper like a yearly planner. And it was just too much. I don't want it to be a laborious process doing this. It should be enjoyable, and I don't want to have too much friction, too many things that are going to make me not want to do it. So this is going well so far. One thing I do want to mention is that the pen of choice, and the pens in all of these notebooks are just as important as the notebook in my opinion. And the pen I've chosen for this one that goes everywhere with me is like a mechanical pencil, and it's just one of those ones where you push down and the lead comes out. And I really like it because it means that if I prefer using a pencil obviously in the Sudoku because I'm a novice at that, but I like using pencil in my notes. And it means that I don't have to worry about sharpening it. I don't have to worry about ink running dry. And I can easily retract the lead into the pencil when I've put it back away, so it's not breaking at all. And I think it works really, really well. So I highly recommend that. And then I'm just using this little bulldog clip as like a page marker, or usually the pen marks as the page marker, but that's going well. There's a couple of downfalls like I mentioned, but otherwise. My next one, which is also from Studio Milligram, is my A5 folio, and when I shared this with you in my last video, I had 3 books. I now have 4 books, and that's okay. That's all right. So this book has like my monthly intentions. At the start of the month, I'll just write down the things that I want to achieve, the things that I'm focused on. At the end of the month, hopefully I'll recap and have ticked a number of those things off. And I've only been doing that for a few months. It's a really great visual. I've done the same thing on my notes app in the past, or on a Word document, and I haven't referred back to it, whereas this is always here. So I am enjoying that. But that process is going to change because of one of these other new notebooks I've got coming in for 2026, which I'll share with you soon. I've also been reflecting on my year in 2025, and thinking about how I want my 2026 to look like. So it's like a year in review process I go through every year, but it encourages me to look back on what worked, what didn't work, and then focus on what has been firing me up in the last year and what I want to bring more into the next year and what I want to let go of. It is quite a process, but I really enjoy it, and I highly recommend, if you don't do a year in review yet, that you do something like that. If you're interested in knowing my process and the questions I ask myself, then I'm more than happy to share that with you. So please let me know in the comments. And then my next book is my book journal, which is where I keep a running list of the books that I have read and I give it a rating. And I am also keeping down just notes on books in general. I watched a YouTuber the other day who was talking about philosophy books. So in here, I've written down my notes on that YouTube video of their recommendations of where to start with philosophy and Aristotle and physics and metaphysics and all that sort of stuff. So this is just book related stuff. Ideas, my summer TBR started in this notebook, so that's what's there, hasn't changed too much. The third one is my brain dump, which is still a brain dump, but it is kind of becoming like a YouTube content calendar. It might be a concept for a video. So this is my initial list of my summer TBR, and I've really enjoyed bringing in some color into this sort of stuff. I have tried writing actual notes in here for YouTube videos, but I do think I prefer to keep that on a digital version because I can easily reference. I've also got further notes in here, like just things that I've watched on YouTube or TED Talks or whatever. Things that I've watched, I'm just using it as a bit of a brain dump. So that is the third book I have. The final book I've added in here is one for health and wellness. And I did share with you in my goals, I think at the start of this year, that I had a lot of health issues in 2024 and 2023, and I have made it a priority to really learn more, educate myself more. But the thing with health I've found is that you implement something and then months go past and you have a short memory with that sort of stuff. Sometimes you're very biased in remembering things that have happened more recently. So I've been putting in here things like meal planning. I've got some random things in here, like these are some notes on grip strength, like what your grip strength should be like as a woman if you want to be able to open jars when you're in your 80s. So random stuff, but I'm enjoying having an actual book for that, its own location. And I just kind of use a paperclip as my bookmark. And I have to say, my pen of choice for this particular book, which I do love, is just a normal Artline Superfine pen. I love the look of the Superfine pen, the feel of it, the scratchiness of it. So that's the particular pen that I like to use in this notebook. The next few haven't changed too much. I have my journal or my diary, which is just going as per usual. I'm trying to write in it more regularly. It's definitely something I want to do more of in 2026, but at the moment it's maybe twice a week thing. I also have my garden journal that I shared with you. I've been using this a lot because we're currently in summer, so I used it a lot for my spring planning. I've been storing all of my seed information, but it's really great. I'm enjoying looking back on this, looking at the information. Oh my gosh, I planted a lot of things last weekend. It doesn't have a year, so it's not supposed to be like you use it for 1 year and then you get a new one. It has almost 4 years of information you can put in, but the notes don't allow you to do that. But anyway, I'm enjoying just turning this into my own notebook on my garden. Things like planning out the vegetable patch. So that's going really, really well. And I highly recommend, if you are a gardener, to make notes about it. Things like this year we had little pests that weren't a problem last year are a problem this year. Pests that were a problem last year aren't here this year. It changes so quickly, and again, you have that recency bias as a gardener. So I've liked writing that stuff down so I can remember for next year to, start to put out some pest control for certain things earlier so my garden doesn't suffer. My commonplace journal, commonplace notebook is going really well. I'm taking the time every week on the weekend to make notes in here, and I did mention that I was thinking about changing my indexing process, but I think I'm going to keep it as it is. And I actually do think I want to share a video on how I commonplace and what my techniques are, what my process is to get the most out of it, because there was a lot of people that did ask questions about commonplacing, but it's such a great process. There are things that I really love that I've written down. Yeah, so I think I'll share a video about how I capture information to then put into this book at a later point. So if you do have any questions about commonplacing, please leave them below and I'll do my best to answer them. One notebook that I did not share with you last time, which I realized I've been using this one for a few years now, is a little notebook that I've been using to capture information around guests and entertaining. So when we're hosting and entertaining in our home. So for example, if you did Christmas, what did you serve last year or the year before that, and who was there, and do you want to change it up a little bit? So what I do now is whenever I cater or host something in our home, I make a note of the day, the date, the weather, the reason we were doing it, what was the occasion, who came, who didn't come and said they were going to come, and I also make a note of the things that I catered. So I've got things like our Christmas lunch from 2024 in here. I made a note about some pre-theatre appetizers. I had our neighbours over when they looked after Luna when we went away to Japan. So we shouted them to a night at the local repertory theatre, and we invited them over just for some like pre-theatre appetizers. So I made a note of what that was. Birthdays, and it's really valuable. If you're someone who hosts regularly, I highly recommend it. This is such a useful notebook. It's not something you write in every week. It's not something you might even write in every month, but it is worthwhile adding it in there. So that leads me into the two new planners that I have for 2026 that I am going to be implementing. And both of these are from Bespoke Letterpress. This is not sponsored. I just really love their stuff, and heck, if they sponsor me and send me their stuff for free, I would be thrilled. I initially bought this planner. It is a day to a page, and I initially thought I wanted something really small. It's not going to suit my purposes for at home because it has one day to a page, and I really wanted to get more of a macro view of my week when it comes to my home tasks and things that I want to achieve. It only has a year at a view using this kind of calendar. So it's not going to serve my purposes for what I want in the home, but I think I'm going to instead use it for work. At the moment, I'm using a spiral bound notebook for work, which is not at all pretty. I think it will work well for work, and it's small enough for me to put in my bag, take to work, and then use at home as well because I work from home some days. So I bought another planner, which is going to be my home planner, and that's this one from Bespoke Letterpress, and I just got it in the mail. It's a really lovely little size. Their stuff is so well finished off. I love it. If we buy other planners or calendars from overseas, they obviously have those local holidays and seasonal things that are relevant to that region. And I don't need to know when Columbus Day is. I like buying ones that are from Australian suppliers, and Bespoke Letterpress does it very, very well. So in this book, they have a couple of pages which is around goals, which is, I think, could be interesting to use. Key events that might be coming up with your holidays or stuff, or major milestones. It also has a year at a view, and then it has this little page for birthdays. But I think what I will do is I just wanted to have this overall layout to be able to include birthdays, but also maybe block out things for weekends away or things that you need to see at a glance over a year. So I'm really glad it has that feature. And this is, to be honest, the thing that I was looking at being able to put into my little pocket folio. That's all I wanted, was to see like a glance at the year. But then when it comes to the month, there is a monthly overview, which I really love, and it allows you to put some notes down there. Then it has like this list of a month to a view. So you can put down all the things that you are hoping to achieve in that month, what things are happening on days. There's like a list of all the days, the to-do list, the major goals. So I think this will replace the book that I've been using for monthly intentions. I think this will overtake that come 2026. And then it goes into a week to a view, and I really like it. It really does allow me to kind of look at the week, see what's coming up, and make my plans accordingly. And there's a little note section down the bottom, so I really love that. I think that's fantastic. And then at the back of it, they've got their own year in review process, which is really cool. And then it has a number of blank pages, grid pages, sketchbook. I just love that I can write notes in there if I need to. So I'm really excited to use this for my home life, to organize myself better, to start to really check things off my list that I want to get accomplished. Their stuff's just so well finished off. If you're in Australia and you're looking for beautiful stationery, cards, wrapping paper, diaries, they're really great. I think once I finish my other diary or journal, I'll probably go back to them because their stuff lays really flat and it's really nice to hold. So those are the notebooks I've got on the go. And when it comes to other analog things that I'm trying to nurture in my life, I'm definitely listening to vinyl records more. It's something that I only brought in this year and I love listening to it. It's so nostalgic for me, and it's quite funny when every now and then I'll try and call out to Google to turn it down or turn it up and realize that I have to get up and use my legs and my arms and do it myself. And I like that. I really do like that. I'm also looking towards all those analog hobbies, gardening, my film photography, playing music, crafting. These are all things that I've been doing a bit more of lately, and I really want to keep doing that in my free time rather than just vegging out. Those are a few analog hobbies. Of course, reading is another one. Reading from paper is most definitely something I love doing, and I can't see myself moving to a Kindle or anything like that soon for so many reasons. And I did actually share those reasons in a past video, which if you're interested, I'll link that below. I'm making sure that I print out my photos rather than just keep them online in a photo album online that you rarely look at. Sending letters and notes in the mail, Christmas cards, spending time with people, actual people in person is definitely something that I want to do more of. Puzzles. I love keeping a puzzle on our dining table in summer so you can just kind of, hang out in the pool, come in here, sit down, do a puzzle for a while. I think it's a really great thing to have. So I enjoy having that as well. And my next major goal when it comes to this whole process of reducing my screen time and my reliance on my phone, I guess, is I want to get a bedside clock, just a normal digital bedside clock that doesn't have too many bells and whistles, but means I don't have to pick up my phone to look at the time or use it as an alarm clock. So that's my next goal. But I'm feeling good about 2026, feeling really, really good. There's going to be a lot of changes for me personally, and I think it's going to be a great year. So I'm excited to do that. Someone did ask me recently about a fountain pen, and I have been using one, but it's not great. So I have a fountain pen on my Christmas wish list, and I am very hopeful that Santa will bring that to me. And that will probably be my journal or my commonplace book pen. So I will be back next week with my favorite books, which is turning out to be a lot harder than I thought. I definitely didn't think my reading year this year was as good as the year previous, but it's proving difficult to choose just like a top 5, 10 number of books. So I need to be much more critical with my thinking. I just gave a lot of books 4 stars this year. I think I was very non-committal. So that's going to be my next video that I share with you before Christmas. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope you enjoyed this and it's given you, maybe it's fired you up for the new year to start making some lists and making some plans for 2026. I think it's going to be a good one. But thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week of reading ahead and I'll speak with you soon. Bye.